Hey, Grimmy here, and welcome back to Grimutalks, the series where I talk about a random topic related to a game I'm playing, which, for this episode, happens to be Dragon Ball Legends, the same game as last episode. For this video, I'm going to be talking about my opinion on Ultra units, and why they kinda suck. Before we proceed any further, I think it's only fair I give background regarding Ultras before taking a deeper dive later on. This right here is the first Ultra to ever release, Super Saiyan Goku, who dropped around 4 years ago, back in 2021. At first, he was an insanely hyped character for the community, and I was a pretty excited passenger on that hype train, as many players were. Legends desperately needed a unit like him, because after several years of the game's development, there needed to be a breakthrough in aesthetic quality to prevent interest in the game to stagnate. With a unique ink brush animation, fully animated card art, an intro animation before the fight even starts, as well as key charging and Dokabaki impact animations which were unique to the character, at least at the time, Goku showed promise for the future of Dragon Ball Legends units, especially because the devs initially mentioned that all future Ultras would have their own unique animations. I'm gonna go back to this later on in the video. Goku himself wasn't just a shiny new toy. He was the shiniest and newest toy. And the best part, everyone could get him for free. And so this obviously really set a solid foundation for Ultra units and made them really sick. Everyone loved Ultra units because of this. They were just, why wouldn't you love them? It's a free character with a level of aesthetic quality that we've never seen before, and actual in-game performance that's pretty decent and rivaled the meta at the time. It was competitive at least, while not necessarily meta-dominating because he is a free character. Fast forward only a few months later, and the next Ultra is Dirty Fireworks Vegeta, and you can find him right here. Surprisingly, the one with the highest power level here, but for me personally, this unit really kicked off the downward spiral, which ultimately ruined my opinion on Ultra units moving forward. Initially, the concept of Ultra units, as explained in Super Saiyan Goku's reveal video, were said to only be reserved for characters with iconic moments. And sure, I guess, Dirty Fireworks is obviously an iconic moment, right? Maybe people who aren't Dragon Ball fans aren't really familiar with it, but for people who have watched the show, especially Dragon Ball Z and the OG fans, Dirty Fireworks is a pretty iconic move, and it is absolutely deserving of an LF, in my opinion. But unfortunately, I don't really think it's as hype as a few other moments which are more deserving of an Ultra. Think of the time when Vegeta turned into Super Saiyan for the first time. It would mirror Goku, because Super Saiyan Goku obviously is supposed to be representation for the scene where Goku goes Super Saiyan for the first time. It would be cool if the second Ultra also happened to be Vegeta when he went Super Saiyan the first time. But that is unfortunately not the case. We can clearly see how, Vegeta is in his base form, and they put a heavy emphasis on the Dirty Fireworks as an iconic moment, being the reason why they turned him into an Ultra. But it's pretty clear that the intensity is just not there. You don't really get that kind of... The weight of the moment is completely different here. And not only that, after one round of gameplay testing, you could see that his key charging and Dokabaki impact animations are exactly the same as Goku's. And this to me was like the biggest disappointment by far. I guess a lot of people really didn't care at the time, but for me personally, this was huge. A huge disappointment, I mean. Because, I was kind of expecting the charging animation for Goku as a Super Saiyan, right? Very different from how characters normally charge ki, especially sparking extreme and hero units. But for some reason, Vegeta, who isn't a Super Saiyan, charges the exact same way. A completely different fighter, with his own unique fighting style, and in a completely different form, charges the same way as Super Saiyan Goku, which is weird. And the same thing goes for Dokabaki impacts, because initially I'd imagine the Dokabaki impact that Super Saiyan Goku has was obviously the part where he fights Frieza, and their battle just goes on for so fast that you can hardly see it, and all you can see are the shockwaves from the hits, which is what the Ultra Dokabaki impact animations look like right now. But Vegeta doesn't nearly have that kind of... He doesn't have that kind of moment in the show, as at least... you can't necessarily apply it for all of these characters, right? And, it obviously started with Vegeta, but every single character actually has that exact same animation. Which is weird, because they don't have that exact same moment as Goku does. That animation should be unique to Goku because it was his moment and it was his fight. Why does someone like Vegeta have to have the exact same animations? And because that really showed that the devs went back on their promise of completely unique animations for each Ultra, and essentially swept it under the rug. Not a lot of people really pointed that out initially when Vegeta released, and same thing goes for like Omega Shenron. I don't really want to talk about this guy because, he's obviously... He's the third and last free Ultra that we've ever gotten, and, I guess it was a pretty unexpected release. But the thing that was also really unexpected was the fact that his key charging and Dokabaki impact animations were exactly the same as Super Saiyan Goku's. Which, to me, again, like, this is Omega Shenron. He's completely different from Super Saiyan Goku. Why would he have the same animations, same recycled animations, when Ultras, again, were supposed to be units who were completely unique in every single aspect? So, okay, let's fast forward again to the end of 2021, and the last banner character for Legends Festival of that year happens to be the first summonable Ultra in the history of the game, with a never-before-seen second ultimate art, that being Ultra Super Gogeta. I summoned on the banner right away, because he was just that meta, and he was just an awesome character. You could rock him on any team, and he would be a massive contributor. He would allow you to really perform really well in matches, and his abilities were pretty meta-defining, so well-deserving of a Legends Festival main character. So that's not the thing that I'm trying to talk about here. Aside from having the same Ki Charging and Dokubaki impact animations as Goku, Vegeta, and Omega Shenron, the first Ultra Rising banner, which this guy dropped on, is exactly the same as the ones we see today. Right, the one with Ultra Cell being the most recent, obviously. With horrible rates for the featured Ultra, and every other unit in the banner being complete folly, right? Because, you know, you obviously have other sparking units, and even LFs, but they're completely trash. Super Gogeta was really the only valuable character who you could get from those banners. Okay, so now that you know my initial beef with Ultras, regarding a lack of completely unique animations and poor banner rates, the Ultra Rising banner rates that is, let's talk about the Ultras of the modern day. One thing I'd like to highlight from a character like Ultra Cell, who recently released, is the fact that his animations are simply not Ultra-worthy. Not just the ones previously mentioned for Ki Charging and Dokubaki impacts. His green card is probably the most egregious one, as it's practically a one-to-one copy of Yellow Sparking Cell. They put their entire budget into the ultimate arts, which isn't all that different from the regular Sparking version as well. And the intro is just too basic. The same thing goes for like a character like Ultra Janemba, which is why I didn't summon for either of them. Because you have the opportunity to play around with these characters' forms. Cell has so many forms. Super Janemba has like the fat, pre-Super Janemba form, like the really big baby, the yellow one, that he transforms from, like in Dragon Ball FighterZ, for example. You can just take that animation and put it into the game as an Ultra, but the devs didn't decide to do that at all. They have the opportunity to play around with these forms again, but they just decided to make them charge up, as if that's enough. Like, it's not really deserving of an Ultra when it's in no way unique to the character. If Janemba can charge up, so can Cell, so can Kid Buu, so can Golden Frieza. Why don't all of these characters just have a charging up intro? Right? It's unfair to these characters because I believe they deserve better representation. They're really cool characters, and they deserve better animations overall. And unfortunately, a character like Ultra Cell, in my opinion, very lackluster. Just as is, like, completely boring. And he obviously has endurance. Again, he doesn't even have a revive, so you can't really play around with the character's model or animations. Again, when this character dies, he just gets his health back. The most basic effect that you can have for survivability nowadays. And going a bit broader, out of all 21 Ultras in the game, not a single one has a truly unique Ki Charging and Dokubaki impact animation compared to other Ultras. All of them are exact copies of Super Saiyan Goku's, which is obviously, again, the original Ultra. They all have the exact same Ki Charging animation, exact same Dokubaki impact animation, when these characters are completely different. They're different forms, different life forms. This guy's pink. He's a monkey. They're different characters. Why would they share the same animation? They have different moments, and yet they still have the same animations for some reason. Out of these 21 units, only 3 of them are free, obviously the ones being 14 stars right here, every one of which were released in 2021, and there hasn't been another free-to-play Ultra in almost 4 years, which is insane to me. Absolutely bonkers, considering that the game is... 4 years is longer than half of the game's age at this point. The fact that we haven't seen another free-to-play Ultra in so long, especially in anniversaries, in Legends Festivals, there have been so many opportunities, all of which missed. We haven't seen a single free-to-play Ultra since 2021. Out of the 18 summonable Ultras, every other one that would be, every subsequent release starting from Super Gogeta has not shown any improvement to the banner format of Ultra Rising, which they dropped on. The banner that Super Gogeta was dropped on is the same as Beast Gohan's, it's the same as UI Sengoku's, same as Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta's, same as Ultra Cell's, same as Golden Frieza's, Gogeta Blue's, and every other unit. Obviously, they feature different sparking units, but relatively speaking, they feature the same characters in terms of how meta the other units are, how there's only one Ultra featured for each banner, so there are literally 18 banners, 18 different banners for each one of the summonable Ultras, which is just so wasteful in my opinion. The rate for the featured Ultra is also horrible. The only really bad experience that I had for bad rates would be Gogeta Blue, because I actually saved up for the Legends Festival where this guy dropped, and I did not pull a single copy, which is just ridiculous. Obviously, I've been super lucky on other Ultra banners, but I can't say the same for every single player. Sorry, damn it. For every single player out there. It's kind of a shame. And okay, I hate to sound like a spoiled brat, but it's really disappointing to see how Ultras have developed thus far. Not only did the devs secretly go back on their promise to develop completely unique animations for each Ultra, especially with the copy and pasting from Super Saiyan Goku, which is still just so egregious for me, and I cannot get over that. They also put an indefinite halt on free-to-play Ultra units, which is a shame for people like me, who enjoy the grind, who have a lot of fun building these characters up from 0 stars all the way to 14 stars with their own platinum equipment, making a set of equipment, using these characters on their initial release. At that point, they're probably at their strongest and will never be that strong again until their platinum equipment comes out. It's a fun experience, but we've never had that in such a long time. And there have also been 0 improvements made to the Ultra banners, Ultra Rising banners, and they're still trash to this day. Speaking strictly in terms of aesthetics as well, the quality has also hit a new low with Ultra Cell and his lackluster animations. That's just my opinion though. But I'm just gonna say it like fairly for all of the Cell fans out there. I bet you guys probably wanted Cell to have better animations. I think, saying that Cell right now has good animations, that's fair. But saying that he couldn't have had better animations, you're probably lying to yourself. Especially with, Dokkan especially, right? Dokkan dropping their own version of Cell, their own Dokkan Fest Cell, I believe, STR, right? That version of Cell is just insanely better. So many varying animations and 2 separate super attack animations for the character. This guy just got a Kamehameha with an extra charge up on his ultimate arts, which is, it's the most boring thing ever, to be fair. Let's just be completely honest here. Cell could have had better animations, and I think you all could agree, especially all of you diehard Cell fans out there. The thing is, the solutions to these problems are fairly straightforward too. It's just that the devs never really taken action, right? The first thing that I want to point out is to focus on quality, not quantity. I'd rather have my socks blown off 3 times a year for every Ultra released, rather than watching a reveal for 5 to 6 Ultras a year and only being impressed with like 2 of them. 1 for Anniversary, 1 for Legends Festival, and that's it. It's kind of a shame to have Ultra units and for them to not be all that hype. It's kind of wasted material in my opinion. Wasted work, because you're putting a lot of effort, a lot of resources into making a character that some people aren't even excited for. This guy's a great example of that, actually. His awkward release date and his recycled animations from other Sparking units were a pretty big topic that was talked about on his initial release. Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Goku right here. I think, for me, I think this is the kind of a sentiment that we should be carrying on in the current state of Ultras in the game as is right now. I'm not just talking about like the quality of the characters' kits, which have actually been pretty good as of recent times, but I want better animations. I want animations being spread out into multiple effects, not just the basic strike arts, a blast, a special move, green card, ult, and ult variations. Cell has just been the worst that I've seen ever for an Ultra unit. Like, that's just me, but I do think that. And this increased animation quality is fair. I think it's something fair to ask for, because they did raise the system requirements for the game recently. So if you're gonna raise the system requirements, at the very least, you need to make units who actually need those system requirements, maximize and make the most out of it. I also really want key charging and Dokabaki impact animations for each character to be different. That's just me though. That's just my personal take. I really want that because, I kind of expected that to go for each character. But it obviously doesn't really impact the larger problem that I'm talking about. On top of that, I really want the devs to give out another free-to-play Ultra. Once every 2 years is fine, and it's certainly more frequent, overall better than what we've got now, which is just an indefinite halt, like I said before. The third and final solution is to obviously fix Ultra Rising banners because they suck. I think the rate for Ultra units on their debut banner should be increased dramatically, but personally I do think that the step format there is just fine. Like, it's not really a problem. It's fine as it is and should be kept that way. Personally, I also think that past Ultra units should be put on the same banner, say Super Vegito for example. I think there should be just this aggregate Ultra Rising banner, Ultra Rising Encore. I think that would be pretty cool, where every single old Ultra unit comes together on one banner, except for the 5 most recent ones, just to make sure that they still have a sense of value, right? So if Ultra Rising Encore were to exist today, a character like Cell, Gohan Beast, Majin Vegeta, and I believe Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, none of them would actually be on that banner because they're still really recent, but obviously characters like Hit, Janemba, Broly, Gogeta Blue, Vegito Blue, Super Gogeta, all these guys, they deserve to be put on that banner as that one aggregate banner. I think that would be a massive improvement. Even if the banner came around only like 3 times a year, 2 months after the latest Ultra release and 2 months before the next one, following the schedule that I suggested earlier, which would be 3 Ultras a year, 1 every 4 months. I believe that the concept of Ultra units in Dragon Ball Legends, as of right now, is beyond flawed, but I also believe there's a chance to improve it if the devs are willing to take the necessary steps. The concept of Ultra units, this concept of a 4th rarity, was amazing, and it certainly has potential, there's no doubt about it. And if the devs, again, are willing to take those necessary steps, that would ultimately lead to renewed interest towards the actual high-quality content released in the game, not just in terms of events, but in terms of the characters that we can enjoy, because the game has improved so much, and thus you can really see that increase in quality that's offered to the players, the entire community as a whole. But that's just what I think. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think about Ultra units in Dragon Ball Legends. Let me know your personal complaints, the thing that you hate the most about Ultras. I'd love to hear directly from you. Again, leave that in the comment section down below. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video, and subscribe so that you're notified whenever I drop a brand new video. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this one. Bye, thanks for watching, never stay perfect, always get better. Peace.